I know one farmer who was telling me that in Ecuador, he had so much rain that he did not have any longer flowering, so he did not have more coffee.
Wow.
And that is something that I was afraid of here in Colombia, starting with the new La Niña. To say, okay, if we're going to have a La Niña that they're announcing that could last up, in a moment they were saying 5 years, and you say if we have so much rain, would there be coffee? Would the plants will be ready, or will be able to produce cherries? There is one very well known tree in Colombia called guamo. It's an Inga, and I was the other day with a producer in a very small town near where we are based, called Pijao, and she was telling me I haven't seen guamos flowering in at least 3 years.
This episode is proudly brought to you by Mapper Forward's workshop. It's time to become a coffee consultant. Learn how to diversify your revenue streams and create freedom from your day job while saying goodbye to that alarm clock forever by becoming a consultant within the coffee industry or directly to consumers who have shifted towards home brewing and home roasting. Protect your income from challenging times in the coffee value chain by taking this course today. Go to mapperforward.coffee/workshops or click the link in the show notes for details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 2 of a 5-part series with Angel Barrera from Belco Coffee, and we are talking about the logistics and financing of moving coffee. In the last episode, we talked about the fundamentals of freighting coffee, the conventional way. Now, a lot has changed in the world since kind of the introduction of specialty coffee, since a whole bunch of things have been going on. We've had pandemics recently. We've got cryptocurrency being introduced into the world. Foreign currency is doing backflips. We've got climate change. We've got ships getting stuck in the Suez Canal. We've got a whole bunch of things happening. And the price of coffee is doing very interesting things at the moment as well. A lot of chaos is going on in the world. And as a part of that, logistics is changing in coffee, and it needs to change in coffee. Why does it need to change, Angel?
I think that more and more people start to ask themselves questions about some things. Why I do this? It can be like very existential, like why do I do the work that I do? I lived for a long time in France, and that was a big question in France, like why I work. Does my work as an incident in something, So I think people are asking more and more themselves questions. And of course, when you work with a product like coffee, which is mainly and still consumed in countries that are not producers, that request it to be imported, exported, depending on which side you are. And what do you do? What do we do every day? When you ship, you purchase sea freight, put your coffee in the containers. And why are things changing in logistics? The coffee, it has had a different, or let's say, it has been seen from another angle that it used to be before. Because, when coffee started to be an extensive product produced, it was this idea, that it came from Ethiopia, where it was a forest. Then it was produced in the mountains, under shading. So, so you had this very romantic idea. And even we created this very, very romantic idea. But the truth is that more than the half of the coffee, I heard the last numbers that I listened from an NGO, it's French Colombian. They were saying that if in a moment we had this romantic idea that 70% of the coffee was under shade and 30% on full exposure. It changed to 67
full
on
exposure?
Full exposure.
Wow.
Yeah. Imagine, so it's quite a lot. So in a moment you start changing this idea of, it's not that romantic.
It's just conventional agriculture, right?
It's conventional agriculture. And then in a moment, there are some laws that are going, like the UDR. And you put deforestation
the
next
buzzword
to coffee. So, so people will start saying like, oh, it's not a good product.
Right.
And so people start asking questions. This can be from an environmental point of view, which is always important and is very important on these moments. But honestly speaking, that human is always focused on human themselves. What is for the human? So people are also asking to ask themselves, why am I putting this into my body? Why it is making this?
100%.
And in Europe, of course, that's why a lot of organic products start going up, because people was more interested on what it makes to your health, to your body. So what does it have to be with logistics? It has to do everything, because in a moment you say it's an imported product. It's an imported product. How can it be better? And at the same time, you said like, what am I supporting? What kind of economies am I supporting by doing this? You have seen what happened in the US. One of the things that they say is that we're going to produce more, so we don't need to import.
Good luck.
And as simple as that, but
Tariffs are my favorite word, he says. And we're going to grow everything. We're going to build everything in America. We're going to grow everything in America. Where?
Exactly.
Where are you going to grow all this coffee? How?
Exactly. So in products like coffee or cacao, that of course, you cannot grow it, as you said, not at the levels or at the to be able to provide enough to your people. Then you need to start thinking, okay, can I change the economy? People start to say, can I change it? Or at least if I cannot change it, I won't support that.
Right.
So that's in a way why we are seeing some things changing in logistics. And we're talking here about the sailing boats, but you have seen the cars, also electricals, hybrids. All about the mobility is trying to change. Now we are starting to talk about hydrogen. So we are seeing these kind of changes.
There's the energy transition. Food consciousness is becoming a thing. It's something that you and Felipe and I talked about constantly, which was, people, coffee needing to be a luxury product so that people start caring about where their coffee comes from, how it's grown, is it organic, is it regenerative, is it conventional, how does your coffee get to you? People, it's not mainstream yet, but it is becoming more like that with the introduction of things like EUDR. And that being led by the people of Europe deciding this, we don't want products coming into Europe that are caused by deforestation. Whether it will work or not, I have no idea. I don't think anybody knows if it will work, but it's not something that's going away. They're going to do everything that they can to make it work, even if it means delaying it, which is kind of strange. But, let's just assume they're doing the right thing there. But when it comes to this idea of things changing and the reason that they're changing, what role do you think that climate is playing in this with regards to logistics?
I think it's accelerating things.
Let me be more specific with my question.
Right.
People think that climate change is impacting coffee because all it's doing is creating another La Niña, or it's impacting a drought in Brazil, and what I try to help people understand is that when a ship can't go through the Panama Canal because the water levels are too low, this is the impact that climate change is having on logistics. And people don't really think about how the way that climate is affecting coffee that way. Can you speak to, one, whether that's a real thing, that climate is affecting the ability of logistics to move smoothly that way? And two, what's the extent of it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you have this very good example with the Panama Channel, because we saw it. We saw it like really decrease. Then I mean, it can go from everything. If you call it from production, I know one farmer who was telling me that in Ecuador, he had so much rain that he did not have any longer flowering, so he did not have more coffee.
Wow.
And that is something that I was afraid of here in Colombia, starting with the new La Niña. To say, okay, if we're going to have a La Niña that they're announcing that could last in a moment, they were saying 5 years, and you say, if we have so much rain, would there be coffee? Would the plants will be ready, or will be able to produce cherries? There is one very it's a very well-known tree in Colombia called guamo. It's an inga, and I was the other day with a producer in a very small town near where we are based, called Pijao, and she was telling me, I haven't seen guamos flowering in at least 3 years.
Because of the La Niña?
Because of La Niña that they have. And then we have El Niño, which created drought. So we were seeing flower in them. So she said, we're going to have production again of that. And it's, that most of the time it grows wild. So it's not something that is produced, but it can show you what are the impacts that they can have. And then, it's also, are we going to face, and I think that's the biggest one, a reduce of the logistics as we know it, because we are not going to be able to to use all the fossils fuels that we can use at this moment.
Is that something you guys are thinking about as a logistics company?
That is something that yes.
Is it new, or is it something that you guys have been talking about for some time and now it's ramping up?
No, we have been talking about it for a long time. In France, it is very
common for people to talk about it.
Yes, that we are going to face a future with less. I don't know if to say less
fossil fuels.
Fossil fuels, because of the availability, or because it will be too
taxing
too harmful
on the environment
to the planet, to use them. So that is, in France, that is something very common to talk about.
I think across Europe, that's why EUDR is becoming a thing. Like, a lot of this discussion is being led by Europe more than it is by America or Australia or the Middle East or anywhere else, I think, at this moment. It doesn't mean that people don't care about it, but I can guarantee you that if I go to Europe and buy a cup of coffee, that cafe is talking to me more about the environmental impact of the coffee than any other place in the world. I don't see anybody really talking about the environmental impact. They might be telling me about the origin, or they're telling me about the, what variety it is or any of that, but they're not talking to me about the environmental impact. And it's certainly not, look, there are some roasting companies that have impact reports that they're talking about, but how many people are really reading them?
No, and then, the conception of a specialty coffee is, I would say, primarily and solely, maybe based on the cup.
Right. Say more about that. Say more about the idea of the relationship between cup score, logistics, and environmental impact and specialty.
We believe basically what we believe is in a global quality.
Global quality.
Global quality. That means cup is one thing. Mm-hmm. And, we are the first one to do coffees that are of a good cup, a good quality of the cup. The lowest coffee we buy, it's here in Colombia, to give you an example, it's 82 plus.
Okay.
So we're the first one talking about the cup quality because it's in a way something different. It's the experience that you give to a consumer in a way, and I think that it can be for everything, like if you buy an apple and this apple is not good, you will not buy it again. So I think it is important. But we don't believe that it's only the cup, because basically, what do we call global quality? The impact that you have, economic, that's the first one, on the farmer or on your supply, on the environment, what is also the impact that is having in the environment. And if you match that with the quality, you have in a way a triangle that if you see it, it makes live a circular community.
Nice.
At the end, because it's good for everyone. And that's what we believe in. Again, say the story. I was one time with Marcos Croce, Felipe's dad. I was invited to do a cupping of coffees that won a contest on a trade show in Europe. And I said, and they were from Brazil, and I said to Marcos, come cup them with me. I said, I won't cup them. And I said, why? And he said, I don't know if they are clean. And I told him, what do you mean? They won a contest.
And they won a competition. I love that.
They won a contest. And he told me, what, do you know how they were produced? And I said, no. Then he said, you got it. And that is something, that we truly believe in the fact that it has to be a global quality. And then, the angle on how you approach the person who you want to approach with that coffee, it can be different one. Because some people may be interested only by the cup, but at least, if you ensure that you will deliver a good quality of the cup with all these aspects, then it's fine. Then there will be some other people that will be only thinking on the environment, which is also fine. But if you can ensure him that he will have a good quality in the cup, then that their clients will buy again.
Felipe, when we did the regenerative ag project, one of the questions I asked him to address in his presentation was, how do you sell coffee that's been grown responsibly? Because it's more expensive and people don't yet understand the value proposition. And he said something that, we talked about a lot here in Dubai when the three of us were hanging out. And he said, if you're selling coffee based on price, and that's the reason that people are buying from you, the second somebody offers a better price, they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if you're building a business that's based on values and based on real shit and relationships and the understanding of what traceability is, what it really means, to have kind of transparency and insight into, like Marcos is saying, like, do you know how that coffee was grown? These are the kinds of things that are going to be an important part of the supply chain moving forward as we get more and more constraints in what we're doing. I want to ask you, when you, as an employee at Belco and a partner at Belco, when you go and look for new customers or you're approached to supply somebody with coffee, are you finding that there are more and more people who understand that this is the way that business needs to be done, or is it going in the other direction?
I think there's a little bit of two.
Oh, both.
Yes.
Tell me more.
Because
in what
when
way?
I started in Belco, so I was telling you 12 years ago, I met some roasters who actually they were coming from every background possible. And I can quote you bankers, filmmakers,
really?
food engineers, any kind of background. And these people, they built companies and brands that were really recognized, that are recognized.
Yeah.
And coffee changed their life of the people.
Wow.
And those kind of people,
yeah, that would be amazing to do business with them.
It would be amazing. And I see them a little bit less now. Because it's more, the specialty industry has grown, it's a larger industry now. So there's a lot of people that open a specialty roastery. They went to business school. They're very good setting up business, but probably they won't care to visit a farm in their lives.
Ever. And you have the complete opposite. People who have never done anything about business and just want to go out there and buy coffees, but they don't really have the expertise to be able how to understand building a relationship that's going to last a long time so that they can continue to buy from that producer for a long time.
Exactly. And then so I'm seeing these kind of characters less, that the ones that we had in the early 2000s, I see them less, because at that time, I remember at that time, there was doing something different in Czech Republic, in Poland, in Lithuania, in Germany, in Spain, you will know him, because there was this guy. Now it's established business, specialty coffee, so many people can think that's that way. And then why I say that I see both, because there are larger companies who by how can I say this, by not an obligation, but in a way they almost have to be forced by internal demands of the companies to say, wait, we have a social responsibility as a company, etc. Why do we buy bad coffee?
So the pressure came from within their own team. People don't want to buy for a company that participates in the supply chain irresponsibly.
And these are not necessarily roasters. I'm telling you about clients of the roasters that can be large
hotels.
That eventually they will put their
pressure
SRE responsible to buy coffee. So they will pressure to buy a different kind of coffee. So I think that's another industry that is making also the specialty industry move on as well.
Do you think that specialty is going to have to start differentiating itself out and find a segue between specialty that's based on cup score versus specialty that's based on, and I don't even think specialty is the right word for it, but the kind of coffee that Belco would buy that isn't just based on cup score, it's a global score, as you were talking about, because this shouldn't be called specialty.
Yeah. I would see it in two times. I think we will have a big disruption.
2025, baby.
Yeah. For the long run, I would see a big disruption, between the commodity and what we will consider a specialty tomorrow. But in a transition time, I think there will be a lot of companies doing greenwashing in the middle. But I see this going out because we don't have any more the time to do greenwashing.
There's no time. Yeah.
There's no time.
No.
I think we will, if I say it in two times, I think, so we will have commodity.
Yeah.
Commodity, what we will consider a specialty in a second time. And in the meantime, we'll have also people in the middle doing greenwashing.
How long, what's the timeline you think that's going to happen on that?
5 years.
Yeah.
Maximum.
Because we don't have any time. Given what's happening in pricing right now, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I was going to have a whole conversation with you about the sea market. We're going to wait. That's the 4th episode. We're going to do that. All right, folks. The next episode, we're going to talk about something very interesting. We're going to talk about a sailboat coffee that's being transported around the world in a sailboat. Because in the first episode, we talked about the conventional kind of fundamental way of freighting coffee. Then in this episode, we discussed how things are changing and why they need to change. Belco is spearheading that changing. So join us for the next episode as we talk about how Belco are using sailboats to transport coffee around the world. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon. And stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward.